Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai haere mai, kia koutou, ki tēnei hui, or zui, as they call it. And I would just want to begin by I just welcome you all here, but acknowledging the mana whenua of the rohe in which we work, of Kirikiriroa, Ngāti Wairere, Ngāti Haua, Ngāti Mahanga, Ngāti Koraki Kahukura, and Ngāti Tamanupo. So just want to begin with that, and also ngā mahi ki te rangatira o tēnei rohe kingi tu heitia. So no mai haere mai, kia koutou. Awesome to have you all here. The participants are slowly building on the screen. This is the first webinar that GoEco has run. I think we've done some Zooms, which is really cool, but we haven't done any webinars. So no mai haere mai. This is a in place of what we typically have twice a year, which is the Kirikiriroa Restoration Network gathering, where we get to share some soup together or some shared kai and just enjoy each other's company as well as listen to a guest speaker. So I suggested to Karen, my colleague at GoEco, that we carry on with this, the guest speaker part at least, and hear from her, because this work is new and exciting. Well, not new, it's been happening for a while, but her role is new and exciting. And so, yeah, we just wanted to have a go at this and share with you the work that she is up to. And I just want to acknowledge all of you in the space of predator-free and restoration, and the wonderful work that everybody does, largely as volunteers in our community. So just a huge acknowledgement for all the wonderful work that you do. But I'm going to be largely quiet for this Zoom, because Karen's got her presentation already up on the screen. We decided that was the best way to go, because it saves any any stress on our end to try and get the thing up on the screen and working. So Karen will be mostly talking, and there's a Q&A tab on your Zooms. Hopefully you can see that, and you can enter some questions there if you want to, and we can follow up with that at the end. And Karen and I will do our best at answering those questions. So that's something that we'd invite you to do. It's a Q&A tab. You could also enter questions in the chat if you wanted to. That's another option. So I will now pass it over to Karen, who will talk with you a little bit about her mahi. So kia ora koutou.
Thank you, Anna. I'm hoping everyone can hear me. If you can't hear me, then perhaps, hopefully, you'll be chatting or messaging, but hopefully I'm clear enough for everybody. I just wanted to introduce myself and also let you know that the work that I'm doing, because this is a new role. So my name's Karen Barlow, and I'm the predator-free, predator control community coordinator for both Predator-Free Hamilton and Predator-Free Cambridge. So I'm going to share a little bit of background about me and what I've done in the past. Starting right back quite early on, I have always loved animals, and I started my career out as a vet nurse in Auckland, and I completed my veterinary nursing certificate shortly after leaving school. I forgot to show my first slide of what we'll be doing, but we'll get into that shortly. There we go. That's what I'm going to be covering today, essentially. A few years later, I started at Massey University in Palmerston North. I did a Bachelor of Science majoring both ecology and zoology. And it's during this time that I found my love for native animals. In my final semester at sorry, all my pings are going off. In my final semester, I organised my timetable to have Fridays off, as you do. But unlike the other people in my class who were recovering from hangovers on Fridays, I decided to volunteer at the now called Pukaha National Wildlife Centre. And I started a contract position once I'd finished my exams. So for those of you that don't know, the Pukaha National Wildlife Centre is situated at Mount Bruce, a very wet and cold place in the Wairarapa. It's a dock facility that works alongside a trust. It is a captive breeding centre for several rare species and is at the heart of a 1,000-hectare forest restoration project. As a ranger and later as a program manager, I covered all aspects of animal husbandry practices, including incubation, hand rearing, animal health and enrichment. I was also involved with recovery groups, volunteer and staff management, advocacy and media, breed and release programs, translocations, leg banding, transmitter fittings, telemetry and predator control. This is one of my funny photos to show you. This was one of our wild kaka nest sites. At that stage, we only had about a dozen kaka that had been reintroduced into the forest. It was part of a breed and release program at Mount Bruce, and I was involved in tracking the kaka and monitoring their successes. This was one of our hand-reared kaka, who you can just actually see at the middle of the screen, which was a little problematic in itself because she wasn't afraid of us and liked to attack us since we were protecting her nest site. The reason her nest site is covered in tin sheet metal is because at that time the forest didn't have any predator control in it. So these were our attempts to protect her nest site, and obviously we had a lot of traps around the site as well. We weren't expecting the kaka to breed so quickly after reintroduction. But actually, although the nest site is so low to the ground, she actually successfully managed to have 4 chicks and fledge them all successfully. So that was a really great story. Some of the highlights of me working for DOC was visiting the Chatham Islands for capture research trial of snipe, releasing and monitoring Campbell Island teal on Whenua Hou, and hand-rearing kakapo chicks in Te Anau. And here were 2 of the 6 chicks that I was involved in hand-rearing in 1999 and 2000 breeding season. After 6 years of Mount Bruce, I retrained and did a postgraduate diploma of teaching and became a biology and science teacher. I love teaching and working with kids. I found interacting with them and getting them engaged and learning really satisfying. I left teaching to start on my next adventure, parenthood, which potentially has been the hardest thing. My husband and I have 2 children aged 11 and 13, and we live in Cambridge. I've been really lucky enough to be able to stay at home with my children and rear them. I've been actively involved in the community during that time on various committees, fundraisers, and at school. I also have my own craft business that I run from home, selling supplies, and I teach regular classes for my customers. I wasn't actually looking for a job when I saw that this position was going. It just all seemed to fit, since this role is all about conservation, education, and community work. I started at the end of January, and I love it so far. I think I was starting to make some progress before the COVID-19 speed bump. So, what it's all about. Predator control is about reducing populations of predatory species so that native species can benefit in their absence or reduce numbers. Without predators, there is an increase in overall numbers and in biodiversity. Reduce possums, and there's more food and habitat for birds. I know I'm preaching to the converted here, so I won't spend too much time on what it's all about. Although the act of predation, catching prey for food, is a natural process, the introduction of mammalian predators to New Zealand, where it's an endemic species evolved without defence mechanisms, has been catastrophic, to say the least. Of course, loss of habitat due to deforestation, pollution, and competition for food and nesting sites from introduced species has also played a role in their demise. But really, it's introduced predators that are widely accepted as being the main reason for such decline. The low numbers of our native predators, such as falcon, moorpork, tuatara, bats, etc., on our native species is likely to be fairly negligible given the introduced predators. Predator control takes the form of trapping, poison, using bait stations and aerial drops, and shooting. Because predator-free Hamilton only uses traps, I'm not really going to be discussing the others in this presentation. What I feel about predator control is that it's not actually about killing things per se, it's just one tool that we can use to increase biodiversity. So when I think about predator control, it's not really about killing, it's about protecting what we have. The Predator-Free Hamilton Trust was established in 2016 to work with Hamilton residents, institutions and agencies to encourage and coordinate the effective humane control and eradication of predator species within the city. The Trust's primary focus has been on Hamilton's gullies and its surrounding neighbourhoods. I know predator control often receives negative backlash from the public, and the main reasons that it seems to be involving the fact that it does kill animals. There's backlash about using poisons, killing and injuring non-target species, concerns that their pet cat's going to be killed, and that there is a risk to children and pets. I feel that because predator-free is able to keep many people on site actually because of their policies. We only use humane traps tested by the National Animal Welfare Advisory Committee, or NAWAC. No poison is used, and traps are enclosed in tunnels or boxes like this one to prevent non-target species from being caught. And the only species that are being targeted by predator-free Hamilton are rats, possums and stoats. So we're not taking out anyone's pet moggies, which I know is a real concern for people. Right, so my job, what it's all about. The community coordinator role is a part-time job of 18 hours. I spend 6 hours a week doing predator-free Cambridge work. 12 hours a week I spend on Hamilton projects, and I spend 1 day of that working from Go Eco. Go Eco is a busy sustainability and environmental centre focused on providing community education, collaborating and supporting environmental groups and projects, and advocating ways to live lighter. I work in the conservation and biodiversity sector with the amazing Anna Casey Cox, who is hosting this webinar today. The Trap Library is based at Go Eco and normally operates 6 days a week, obviously in normal times. There are traps available for hire and sale, and they're available to all Waikato residents. The idea behind providing affordable traps, expertise and support to the public will ultimately work towards the predator-free 2050 goal. Even if these people are never involved in a community group, collectively they are still contributing to reducing predator numbers in the urban area. Currently, there is no other agency providing a predator control service like this in Hamilton. And I know that the council are getting people to contact me if they have any predator or pest control problems. Traps are funded primarily through grants, and the wooden rat tunnels are made by a collaboration between corrections and DOC. Advocating the importance of predator control is a big part of my role. I'm using social media, the predator-free Hamilton website, and articles in the newspapers. It's a mixture of success stories, community group activities, practical trapping tips, links to relevant information, education and opportunities to get involved. I'd like to also provide workshops too, when possible. I'm trying to raise the profile of the great work that is being done and get more people aware and ultimately more people involved. So far, I'm receiving some pretty good feedback and getting lots of correspondence as a result. Newspaper articles like this one also make wrapping up backyard catches handy as well. Working with schools and youth groups is something I feel really strongly about. It's worth investing time and energy into youth to educate them on the benefits of conservation and what it means for their future. Giving them some practical experience and skills will only grow them into the people who we want to continue our work. Kids are really enthusiastic about conservation, especially when they can get involved. This is a group of scouts in Cambridge. I went and gave a talk to them, and then that night we made trap boxes, and they were just totally into it. They just thought the whole process was great. This was just before lockdown, so although we made the boxes, the next step is to put them out around the Scout Hall, and they also back onto a gully in Cambridge, so we'll be setting traps up there. But so far, some really positive vibes going on there. They were really keen to get involved. I've been talking with EnviroSchools, Camilla from Go Eco, who runs the Kirikiriroa Explorers Group, and also Lynn Rogers from the Fairfield Project, about how we can work together, getting kids involved more. There are lots of schools in Hamilton that have nearby gullies or natural areas, and also lots of schools that have nearby active community groups in their neighbourhoods. So I really want to get these groups together and get something going there. This is a photo from the Fairfield project. This is the intermediate school that isn't actually the one quite adjacent to Fairfield College, but still it's a local group, and it's just an amazing thing to have on your back doorstep, is that you can just have these field trips and you get kids involved pretty easily. Priority areas for predator control are those of the gullies and natural areas of significance in Hamilton. Ecological restoration of an area can include removal of pollution or rubbish, weeding, planting, and predator control to increase biodiversity. Of course, doing any one of those jobs is a huge job in itself, especially if working in a large area with few workers and lack of funding. I know this is the reality for many of the community groups. There are already a number of community groups like yourselves doing restoration work already. There's a real range of groups in terms of what their current focus is. Some are tackling weeds, while others are already undertaking intensive predator control programs. Some more pictures of the great work that's being done at the Fairfield project. Predator control complements restoration work no matter what stage you're at. If you're out there weeding every week, is it possible to check some rat traps while you're there? If you're planting seedlings or larger plants, perhaps protect them by having possum traps. Or can you encourage your neighbours to have their own traps in their backyards? Better still, let's do it all. Getting the local community involved is key. People are invested because it's their neighbourhood. Who doesn't want a beautiful backyard with bird singing? I think one of the positives of lockdown is that more people are realising just how special their green spaces are in their backyards and are really appreciating the wildlife more. There's obviously a sharing of workload if lots of people are chipping in. A family could check a trap line while out walking on the weekend. The schoolboy can check the traps every Wednesday after school, and also upload his record his catches on the app using his phone. Coverage of predator control is further increased if neighbours surrounding your project have their own traps and are maintaining it themselves. That's a little input with maximum effort. This slide here shows, this is in Cambridge, a new area that I've set up at St Kilda. Residents, we were lucky to have a whole lot of traps donated to us, a whole lot of DOC 200s. And then I've got 8 people. So basically, because this was the area that was designated for the traps to be used for at St Kilda, set up a meeting. We had 8 people turn up to the meeting who all are involved in checking the traps. So I have 3 trap lines set up there, and these are all in public areas. So that's 5 households with 8 people. So we've got a mother-son team. We've got a lady and her son-in-law and a husband and wife team. So that's great. And they all have got a roster. We've got to set up a roster and all taking turns checking the traps up in those 3 public area trapping lines, which is fantastic. If the task involved setting up a program seems like one too many things on your very long list of things, and you'd rather spend the time planting, this is where I can help. Predator-free Hamilton control plan, which will include work to target, types of traps you'll need, the traps for the best results, and how often to check the traps. We can also provide you with a trap, be available for support. There are options depending on terrain, ability, fitness of trappers, and frequency of service. You will need to supply the bits, service the traps, check and rebait, but I'm also hoping I can help with that too. Oh. Sorry, I think although they're working, I have 3 devices I'm working from at the moment, my laptop, my iPad and my phone. And unfortunately the laptop with the slides seems to, although I can see it, I'm not quite sure why you can't. But I'm going to continue without it. Sorry about that. So I can let your local community know about what's going on in your area, educate them on why your work is important via newspaper articles, social media, meetings, workshops, letterbox drops, etc. The more people that know about your project, the more likely the chances of getting active participants. Schools will have a conservation and community agenda and may just need to be made aware your project covers both aspects. If you have schools nearby, it makes it even easier to get them on board. There can also be flow-on effects with schools and that kids go home, tell their parents, which may also want to get involved. So my slide was of Leo Copins at his Tamahiri Reserve. I did a Facebook post about some of the work he's doing there, and as a result got one person wanting to help him in his project. So that's how I can help you. Oh, Anna's trying to find my slides for me. So there's that, it's that Facebook post after the number 19. Yep. So there we go. I did this Facebook post, and then I had one person say, hey, would you really like to get involved in Leo's project? So he got in touch with Leo, and I need to follow up about whether he's actually helping. But that's the sort of thing that can happen. You get information out there and people want to get involved. So I'm hoping to get more of that happening. Next slide, please, Anna. Thank you. Keeping people motivated and keen to continue is the challenge. This will require maintaining the relationship with the new community members involved in your project, adding them to regular communications such as newsletters and emails, Facebook and message board groups, inviting them to participate in other areas of your group, working bees, workshops, and hosting fun events such as end of year Christmas barbecue to say thank you. It's hard to stay motivated, particularly if there's no catches. So having that group communication and established network is really important. I will be available to provide support, answer questions, and supply information, etc. As required. This is an established group at Cambridge at Tika Utu Lake. Certainly a group that was well established before I came along. Funnily enough though, although these people are checking, they're on a roster system and they check traps, 2 people checking traps, 2 trap lines every week. It's not often they all get together because of course they're doing it as their own by themselves or as a family unit. So every now and then it's just a great idea to get together. We have quite a good email communications. I wouldn't say weekly or as things arise, and it's just good to get together every now and then. So this is the sort of thing I'm talking about. Next slide, please, Anna. The benefits of working together with lots of diverse people and groups means you can share knowledge and experience. It's an amazing networking opportunity that creates unity and solidarity. Whether you're a community group, private landowner, local government or other agency undertaking ecological restoration, ultimately the end goal is the same. It's all about increasing biodiversity and protecting it. That's what's important. Collaborative efforts mean small voices together are loud and strong and will be heard. Working together can help with funding opportunities and ultimately reach our goals quicker. Next slide, please. Thanks. You've heard my ideas about how predator-free Hamilton can help your group. And if you have any more thoughts or ideas, then I'd love to hear them. So here's my contact details. If you want to start a predator control area, predator control in your patch, then let me know. Or if you know somebody that does, I'm only happy to talk to them about that. Thanks for letting me have this opportunity to talk, despite the slight technical difficulties. Thanks, Anna, for bailing me out there. But yeah, thanks.
Oh, good. Thank you, Karen. Awesome. We do have a question. It's from George in Mangaonua. I guess the question is, is anyone interested in doing trapping or baiting in Mangaonua? Which is a great question. And I'm sure Karen will support you to see what can be done there, right?
Yeah. So ideally, if we want to start that process, George, then let's get together, have a bit of a chat, and we already have had a little chat about it. It would be great if we have people that are already in your group that want to get involved. then the next step would be to, let's get it out there. Let's say we're going to be starting a program up in your area. Who wants to get involved? So yeah, I can definitely have a chat to you further about that, George. Nobody has come to me and said, yes, I'm in that area and I want to help. But I haven't put it out there yet. So yep, let's get that started.
Cool. And Lynn had her hand up, but I wasn't sure what that was for, because this is all very new to us still, isn't it? But yeah, she had her hand up, but I'm not sure what the question was, if there was a question, but it might have to be another time. But yeah, and just so everyone knows, I guess the thing with Karen's role too, like our hope is that there will be more employment, or at least more hours able to be dedicated to this work, because we do consider it to be really important. So Go Eco and Predator Free Hamilton are working to, you know, try to achieve that. Obviously there's always competitive, funding's always competitive, so it's tricky, but we certainly have hopes, and it seems like it's becoming more of a priority in our community as more people, as the awareness builds around predator free. So I think that can only, you know, be or bode well, I guess, for the future in terms of the resourcing of the work. So I just wanted to say that. Right, we've got a couple more questions. Oh, no, we don't, Lynette. No, I put up my hand. From Bruce McKay, how are you coordinating with and between Hamilton City Council and neighbours around gully parks?
Right. Basically, I am going to be dealing more and more with councils. Certainly we have somebody from the Waikato District Council on our trust meetings. So we are working with councils. At the moment, when we had our last meeting with Ellie in the council, chat was at the Kirikiriroa Biodiversity Forum, I think it was. He mentioned an app that he's working with council on about plotting. It was a biodiversity app. I'd already been discussing with council that I really would like something very similar for predator control, but obviously he's doing this biodiversity one, so that's going to work in well. So I was finding out who is doing predator control, because I said, look, there's heaps of people just on private property that are doing stuff that I'm not sure that the council's aware of, and I might be aware of some of that. They're aware of some, you guys will be aware of more. So I really want to get some sort of map system up and running so that we know where predator control is happening. Because although there are community groups like yourselves that are doing some work, there are a heap of land owners that are doing stuff as well, especially if they're backing onto natural areas. And I think there is more work being done than we think. So pulling that information together. So I am talking to council about that mapping system. So I hope to follow up with that shortly. I spoke to Ellie about that last week. Cool.
And I guess a follow-on question from that, will volunteers be able to assist work with council as well?
Yeah, I guess we can talk to that, talk to council about that as well. I think we should all be working together because although we might have different ways to get there, ultimately our goal is the same. So I think the more communication we have between council, community groups and landowners and us, the better. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a question from, actually I don't know your first name, but it says PK Smith. Maybe I probably do know you, but I don't know. Anyway, Karen, one of the issues we have come across at Riverlea is the need to educate residents on best practice or even basic information, such as identifying a wrap for our large Chinese population. Will you be providing workshops to educate people on some of these basic ideas?
Yeah, I'd certainly like to be doing some workshops on all types of things, and Go Eco will be a great place for that to happen. I do lots of that sort of information, sharing information. I have done posts about what rat have you caught, what types of predators there are. So if you go to the Predator Free Hamilton Facebook page, I post lots of information about that sort of thing all the time. So it might be just a matter of scrolling through past posts and having a look, but I've certainly covered that, and I will continue to cover it, because that's the sort of information people want to know. I also post about good links. Predator-Free New Zealand Trust is a really good site, and I often refer to them for really good information. So absolutely, I'm posting very good information on Facebook particularly. That's my main means of communication. But certainly if people don't have access to Facebook, I'm happy to send out that sort of information to them via email or talk to them on the phone about it.
Yeah, and just to say, I guess acknowledge the trust that supports Karen, the Predator-Free Hamilton Trust, and the expertise that are on that trust as well, and the people and the support that is around Karen for, you know, providing information and workshops and things. It's not like, yeah, it's a well-supported kaupapa, I guess. Just want to acknowledge all those people that are contributing
Absolutely.
in that way. Yep. Yeah. So I think that's all the questions that we have for now. Yeah, we probably, I don't know whether everyone's experiences this, but Karen and I, you can get a bit zoomed out in a day, so we didn't really want to have this as a long session. It was a informal, hopefully just a connecting, place for people to hear a little bit more about Karen's work. And she is accessible and contactable, and has shared the contact details with you, so you're very welcome to follow up. And if you are on Facebook, like Karen said, it's a great way to stay up with what's going on and the next steps, etc. So I think I did have a quick chat with Sam this morning, just via text, about the COVID-3 alert level and what that means for predator free, but it's my understanding that that will be coming out shortly, a little bit more detail around that from the Regional Council, and the Biodiversity Forum will share that on their Facebook. So just keep in touch with them also about that, so you know what you can and can't do in level 3.
I'll also be posting up-to-date information on the Predator-Free Hamilton website and Facebook as well, once we know for sure. But I think it's all looking good for level 3, as far as people can get out to their trap lines and check, as long as they're still being safe, wearing gloves, not doing it in groups unless they're part of your bubble. I think it's all going to be quite easy to achieve.
Cool. Okay, so kia ora koutou, enjoy your day, stay safe in your bubbles, and we'll probably do some of these again soon. So kia ora everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.